Somebody says, what books are those? If you can state them, you know what? I won't just state them. I'm going to, since you asked, let me look for one book for you. If I look for two, if you had known, you had just let me continue to say what I want to say. But you asked for sources, so let me give you two. There's nothing bad in redefining yourself. There's nothing bad in becoming, you are growing. Everybody, see, there's no culture that is perfect. Everybody's evolving. But you see, as you are evolving, you evolve like a human being. Why you be troubling everybody? That is I'm going to look for two books. I want to first read. I've read that one here before. I'll read it again because it answers the question. Let's start with Margery Perham. Again, Margery Perham was a major supporter of Biafra. You can Google her. She was a dame attached to Oxford University. She was, as a matter of fact, she even wrote, she was pushing for Biafra essentially in the UK, right? And she's very respected in academic colonial circles. If you want to read anything about colonial Nigeria, especially from around the 50s into the 60s, you'll see the name here and there, and then you can, put it together. I'm reading from The Listener of 20th October 1960. So she says here, beneath these difficult restraints, regional differences are great. I believe that the Igbo are the main force for unity. They need unity. The first part is good, the main force for unity. That's why, if you notice, in the history of Nigeria, there is no ethnic group in this country that uses that word unity more than the Southeasterners. And it's not because of you, it's because of the next statement. They need unity. As the poorest region, they have had to pour out of their overcrowded forests to seek work all over the other regions. I omitted a particular part that mentioned the fact that they've struck mineral oil. I like to say that because the mineral oil was not in Igbo land, it was in Eastern region. So it says, as the poorest region, they have had to pour out of the overcrowded forest to seek work all over the other regions. Again, having no great history, no impressive chiefs or cities, they need to find their pride, their fulfillment in Nigeria itself. That's the first one. You asked for, I promised to Abi. By the way, I'm not reading this because of anything. I'm responding to the person who asked for the authors and names. So that's the first one. Let me read the second one to you. The man is called Enahoro. And this is what he had to say. He had talked about different parts of Nigeria, talked about the north, the west, Benin, Niger Delta, talked about Calabar. And then he called the Igbos the loosely organized Igbo peoples in the hinterland of the former eastern region. Then he says, of the three most populous ethnic groups of Nigeria, therefore, Hausa Fulanis, Igbos, Yorubas, only the Igbos never had an organized state, an imperial past, or a golden age. They had not centralized political administration or loyalties and never had an era of kings, dukes, or conquerors. You find that in Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria by A.H.M. Kirk-Greene. If you want more sources, please feel free to ask me. I'll probably take you to G.T. Baston. You will not like what you find there, Sha, but Notes on the Igbo Country Among the Igbos of Nigeria by G.T. Baston. Let's not go to those ones, please. I'm begging you, let's not go there. I don't want to. This one is still, we're just talking. So those two books should help you. The point I'm trying to make that you thought you probably got derailed me is that you guys talk about unity a lot because you need it. There's one thing that Enahoro said here. He said, no, let me read it. No, I don't want to quote it out of context. I was talking about the captured documents. What page is that? Oh, everybody should just be, let's just do well in Nigeria, but everybody should know their place. Don't act like you are all that. Captured documents now confirm, that's after the war. Captured documents now confirm that the intention of the former Eastern authorities was to conquer the former Midwestern and Western regions, and then in a later phase subdue the former Northern region. This was not surprising. Igbos need to work and trade over the whole of Nigeria, which they have always known in this century as their country.